In this video, I'll give you an overview on Android Viewmodel. So before that, let me walk you through the project that I will use in this video. So this is a simple app that has like one minus button and one plus button. And if you click on this plus button, then it increases this value, this text value. And if you click on this minus button, then it decreases this value. So it has only one activity. This is the main activity. Here I am using view binding, and this is the view binding variable. So here I have initialized this variable, and for the button minus, that is this red button, I'm adding one on click listener, and also for the green button I'm adding one on click listener. For the minus button, it calls this decrement value and it changes the value of this counter. So basically we are showing this counter here. So it decrements the value of counter by 1 and it updates the text on this text view. So now let's see how we can use Viewmodel and what is Viewmodel. So basically Viewmodel is used to store all the UI related data. So if you create any application in Android, then you can either create one activity or one fragment that is directly linked with the screen that we are showing. For example, here we have this main activity and it is linked with this screen. And all the UI related tasks, like all the references of these buttons or text, we can get inside this activity. So this class should be responsible only for that is to get the reference of the views and to do anything on the view items, like we are adding one on click listener here, or we are changing the text here. So this part only it should be responsible for. But other than that, we also doing here this changing the value of this counter variable. So this is the logical part. So we are incrementing the value and also we are decrementing the value. We are storing the value of this counter in the main activity. So for that, we should create one separate class that should be responsible for all the logical things, like storing the variables, or if we are making one call to the database. So these types of things we should create in a different class, a separate class that's called a Viewmodel class. So if we create a Viewmodel, then it will not include anything related to the UI. So it will be easy for writing test cases. So we can easily test the code. We don't have to think about how the UI is handling. Also, it is also useful for handling configuration changes. So what does it mean? So if I go here and if I now rotate the screen, then you can see that this value is reset. This is because Android recreates the activity once the configuration changes. We can solve it. We can just put it in a bundle and we can save it, and then again we can restore the data from the bundle. But currently we have only one value counter. So if we have like multiple values like 10 or 20 values, then it is more difficult to handle this way. So Viewmodel actually handle that. It is destroyed only when this activity is destroyed. Other than that, if we are sending the configuration, if you are rotating it, then it is not destroyed. So to create one Viewmodel, it is simple. So we need to create one class. So let me create one Kotlin class. Suppose the Viewmodel name is main VM, and here we need to implement it from Viewmodel class. So this Viewmodel is defined in this Android X lifecycle. So here we have like two methods that we can override. One is called init and one is called onCleared. So init is called whenever the Viewmodel is initialized, and onCleared is called whenever it is destroyed. So we can get this counter value from this main activity to this Viewmodel. Also for this decrement value, we can move it from this activity to this view model. And also we can move this increment value function from this activity to this view model. And this part actually we don't want it in a view model because here we are interacting with the views. So this part we will keep it in this main activity. Let me change the name update view. Okay, so we need to call this decrement value, increment value and counter in the view model. So for that we need to create one variable here. So let me create one new variable. It's of type main VM, and we need to initialize this variable. So in onCreate method, so here to initialize it, we can't initialize this like any other class, like we can't use it this one. So we need to use one different class. It's called Viewmodel Provider. So here we need to pass the context, and we can use this get. So here we will use this main view model. Also we need to import the view model. So here in the Gradle script, in the project level, in the module level, so you need to add this and sync it now. You can see that it is working now. It's working. So from using this view model, we can call this decrement value from here, and also we can call this increment value from here, and we can get the counter variable from the view model. So for that we need to make this counter public. Let me create another function here, function get counter. So it will return this counter. So we can use this get counter in this main activity instead of using this counter directly. And once we are incrementing or decrementing the value, we can update the view from here. I need to put it outside of this onCreate. Okay, so we can call this update view, and it will update this text view number. So if I run it now, then it should work. So let me see. Okay, we need to change the return type of to integer. So let me rerun this project now. Now let me see, if I click on this plus button, then it is incrementing the value, and if I click on this minus button, then it is decrementing the value. And if I if I rotate the screen, we need to call this update view once the onCreate is called. So actually this view model holds the data, but we are not updating the view once it creates one new the new activity. So it is showing 0, but we need to update the view once it is created. Now if I restart it, now if I increment it, then you can see that it is there. So the view model is live, so it will be killed only if the activity is killed. Sometimes we need to initialize the view model with means some initial values in the view model. Suppose we want to initialize it with the counter value as 12, then using this way we can't do that. For that we need to use one different class. It is called a factory class. So let me create one Kotlin 5 class here. So suppose the name of this as main view model factory. So here we can get the value that we want to initialize it with. Suppose it is initial value, and it is of type integer. and here we need to implement it from Viewmodel Provider dot factory from this class. Now we need to override one method here. So if I click Alt Enter, then you can see that it is asking me to override this one create method. So for inside this create method, we can check if this model class is assignable from our Viewmodel class. That means main VM class.java. So if it is assignable from, that means that we can create this. So here from inside this method, we can send this main VM class, and let me create it as counter. Let me get this initial value here, initial value integer, and inside this init we can set the value of counter as this initial value. Now we can call this main view model with the initial value as this initial value. Okay, and we can return this one. Also, if it is failed, then we can just throw one exception. We can throw an illegal argument exception. Now we can call this method from our main activity class. We don't need this one, Viewmodel Provider. So we'll call this create dot create, and here I'm going to use this so we need to create one more variable. It's of type Viewmodel factory. It's of type main Viewmodel factory. So here we don't need this create, and we can simply pass it, and we can pass our starting value, initial value, that is 1000. Suppose I'm passing it here, and this is the factory that we are getting here, and from this factory we can create the view model. So we need this Viewmodel Provider. So here it is similar to the previous one. Then here we need to pass this Viewmodel factory dot get, and we can pass this VM class dot java. So that's it. Now if I run the app, now you can see that it is the starting value of this is the 1000 that we are passing here. So if we need anything, the start value that we want in the view model, then we can use on Viewmodel factory. So that's all for now. So I hope that you learned how we can use view model and what's the basic use of this view model. And if you have any questions, please drop one comment. Also, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks. Bye.